Hello and welcome to another video. So the tried, the true, the special Spellboost Runecraft back again, this time with Affinity Evolved, hey? So we got a couple of new cards in this deck. Very little actually changed because the Spellboost cards that were gained in this set aren't insane, to be honest. Honestly, we're only actually including two new cards, and of those two new cards, technically we're only running 3 total. We're running 2 Flames of Chaos, as this is just a really nice removal card, easily spell boostable. And we're running a single Norman Adam Alchemist. Now, Norman is a really solid card. I've had a lot of good plays with him so far. Whenever you drop him on turn 6, turn 7 range, and you can kind of just go for the Golem after setting up your Witch's Brews, or potentially even using Sage Light, although I wouldn't use Sage Light for that typically, then Norman can actually develop your board quite nicely with barrier goblins that are really a pain to deal with. And I mean, he also has built-in healing and stuff as well, so he can also be good in that regard. You could potentially set up a Golem and then Evo for heal as well. So as a one-of, I think he's fine. There's plenty of draw in this deck still. I mean, you're running so much draw. Like, there's 9 draws. There's another, like, what, 6... plus another, what? Sorry, that's not 6, that's 4. Anyway, that's 6, yeah. So there's so much draw in this deck that you don't actually have to worry about it. I've considered running the Onion Patch, but I think just because it's too slow compared to Anagrea. Anagrea is just so strong as a 5-drop. Probably the strongest 5-drop we have in the game at this point, that you really can't afford to not play her on turn 5. So overall, this deck doesn't really change too much. Like I said, just including a single Adam and Alchemist in this variant and the 2 Flames of Chaos is enough. This deck's still as solid as it was before. It's a great counter to Wardhaven overall. Although Wardhaven can aggro you down if you aren't careful, you really do need to have some removal prepped and ready, which is where Flames of Chaos and William really come into play. But hopefully you guys enjoy it, and we'll get right into it. And starting this off here, we actually do have Wardhaven as our first match. Now, I'm trying to remember if this match was actually pretty decent or not. It's hard for me to remember because I've done a few matches since then. But hey, I think this one was okay. Even if this match isn't the best, I think the next 2 are more than fine. So, Radiant Rainbow, we're just looking to curve out here, boosting those dimensional climbs as early as possible while getting other spell boostable cards in our hand that are valuable, and trying to dig for that Anagrea for our turn 5 play, especially when we're going first. Which, like I said, we have plenty of draw, so it's not like we're really hurting in that department. We're going to draw plenty of cards and have really no issue doing so. There's a few different ways you can go for lethal in this kind of deck. There's the double Kun method, there's the Kakaitis OTK, there's just the be aggressive method with Blaze Destroyers. Plenty of good options, but really against Haven, you're really just looking for those big OTK sort of turns. Particular OTK Kakaitis plays, or just big Kakaitis plays, are where all the value is. So, not really a lot going on here. We kind of just draw, dig, draw, dig. We unfortunately didn't have Anagrea on turn 5, but we do have it now, so our turn 6 is looking promising. Although with William, it's really up in the air on if Anagrea is the right play, but I still think it is, because we can clear William with our ward, and then we can use Anagrea Evo to clear at least one of the 2 little wards on their own, and then probably clear it with a Demonic Call, which is more than enough to get a full clear here, while leaving up both bodies. Plus we can develop Blaze Destroyer, so why not? Actually, we don't even need the damage on the 3-3 either, thanks to looking smart. So decent value overall. This does force their Unholy Vessel, not too surprised, but getting them to waste their whole Unholy Vessel, kind of good. We can just set up another Anagrea, why not? Already having Decline live turn 7. But we're not really doing a lot else with it. They do play their Aether here. It's kind of annoying, but not really. William is such a good clear here, or Flame would be such a good clear here, that most things they play aren't really an issue when they go wide, since they are highly spell boostable. It's why if you're going up against Wardhaven, I do recommend holding like a William or a Flame early, so that you can develop it ready for the Aether turn, as that's kind of when you're going to need it. So they do get the full clear here, develop a couple of wards, and look for some more draw. So I decided to just Go for it. Let's develop a Kun. I don't really have another good way to remove this that's not just wasting the flame. And I don't see myself lethaling with Kun against this guy, just because he's probably going to play so many wards that by the time I get my Kuns ready to go, it's going to be really hard to hit face. So we end up forcing out the Jane, which is great. Like I said, there's basically two variants on Wardhaven that I've seen right now. The hybrid Storm variant and the more slow Ward variant. So what you're going to see here is the Norman play. Like I said, I think he's actually pretty solid as a one-of. The Guardian Golems are just that good. And then we're going to pick up the clear here as well. Without having to waste our flame. We're going to use Stormy Blast instead. So you end up with a 7-7 and 3 3s and 8-6. Why not? Basically going to force them to have to use an Unholy if they have it. Which they do. Not a great outcome for us, but not the worst in the world. We have Ruler of Cocytus and Dimensional Climb, so we're not looking at an awful board. And I end up deciding just to send it, since we do have another Dimensional Climb anyway. And we can kind of just wait them out here. We don't actually have to go for it yet. We can wait a turn and see where we end up next turn, since we have the double D climb. And now that we have something to target for our potential Azeroth, we end up drawing a 7 of Cocytus. I end up playing some removal. I was hoping to clear one of the two, which was fine. We actually hit the bigger one too, which was great. I actually means I don't have to force out the Evos. So we end up with 3 7 of Cocytuses, which I honestly think is a little insane. We get a little unlucky here though, even with double declimb and only having like 2 cards remaining in deck. One of those 2 cards is our Azeroth that we're looking for, which is really disappointing because I can't afford to search for it when I'm gonna overdraw in the next turn. So we can kind of just get our damage in, leave these on board, and see if they can deal with it or not. They end up going for the wards, which is a little annoying. Not super easy to deal with, especially when I can't sacrifice my own card, but one of 2 cards in our deck is Azeroth and is lethal. Provided this Super Evo lives, which honestly it's going to because it's massive. So we end up finding the Azeroth, thank God, 1 in 2. And we end up clearing house there. That last game was obviously a much better one than I was expecting. Going into Portal next. Portalcraft's a more interesting matchup. The ranks are, the groups are still a little messed up for me at the moment. I'm finding opponents in like Topaz and Ruby that I usually wouldn't find unless I was in Sapphire, and I went up to Sapphire playing some Wardhaven, and then I went back down quite a bit. Playing some other stuff, trying to get some video stuff ready. Because these videos are all being recorded a couple of days earlier, so we're like 1 or 2 days into the expansion at this point when you guys are seeing this compared to when this actually goes out. Which I believe this one will be Sunday, so things will probably have changed a little bit. But hey, here we are. We've got a pretty nice early game. Anne and Greya, Ruler Cocytus, Kun, that's fine. It's a little slow from here, but Anne and Greya in the next turn should be more than enough, honestly. We can easily take this without even having to use our Evo, which is fine. Kind of just holding those Evos, not wasting them here. Which, considering they played Bullet, is fine. Artifact B, Flight of Icarus, they're just getting things ready. We end up top decking another Anne and Greya, which is great. I love top decking a second Anne and Greya. If I'm going to top deck any card a second time, I want it to be Anne and Greya. So that does put some nice things in play next turn. We have Blaze Destroyer, Demonic Call. Dimensional Climb, not quite there, but getting there. We already have the Ruler. But we don't really want to take this game to game round 10, not unless we absolutely have to. As Portal is kind of similar to us. End up just playing a bunch, healing, getting out this Blaze Destroyer for Evo. While developing our board just a little bit. Honestly, probably should have Evo'd the 3-3 there. But hey, this is fine. It's still out of range of a Gamma, which is the main thing I'm trying to stay out of range of. So at least this will force them into having to do something here. And this honestly works out pretty well for us, I think. We take a little bit of damage, but the 4-1 isn't really a threat. And Kun is a pretty easy card here just to use for clear. I do end up sending the Evo though. The Super Evo. Not necessary. 100% not necessary. But I'm kind of expecting either a big Orcus or Realmir play next turn, so I want to make sure my board is something they have to focus on. Which I think this is going to be kind of it. This is going to force them into the double Gamma summons instead of going for betas. Which should be more than enough to tide us over. I would have loved to have used Norman, but unfortunately without Earthright, Norman's pretty dead. He's really not doing a lot. So we go for our second Kun play. It's really not what I want to do, but I can't really see another good option yet, so we end up declimbing. We end up redrawing our 1 of Ruler of Kokaitis, and we do get some removal, which is good. Does mean I don't have to use the Super Evo. And instead we can just set up Brew and, you know, wait things out, see where we end up. Pretty nice board.
I have much to learn.
So nice, in fact, they decided, hey, I can't answer that anymore. And our final match here is going to be Rune on Rune. Why not? A little bit of Rune on Rune action.
Medium rare or well done.
Alright, some nice early cards. We did end up getting a draw and an early Witch, which is always good. I think having Witch early is nice. It can clutter your board a little bit, but I think setting up for Norman is just kind of important and something you want to be doing. Because Norman can be such a good card. Plus, double Foresight there was such a good pickup. We got a really nice curve out overall. Fortunately, this turn's a little worse, but we can just play home to homework time. Just hard play it for the draws. It's next turn that gets tricky, since we don't want to overdraw too much here. Especially when we don't have our Kokaitis. We do end up picking up the Norman, so I end up playing the 3-cost card just to avoid overdraw. So even though we got 0 value out of it, I'd rather get 0 value out of it and not overdraw than overdraw and lose something even more valuable. So, and Ingrea finally get to come down. We have enough Earth right now for Norman to actually be live as well. Which we could honestly play next turn if we wanted. Norman into double ward is a pretty nice turn 6 play. Especially when we don't have a lot else going on unless we want to go down the drawing cards route. So we just go for the Norman, summon Guardian Golems with a barrier. Send a normal Evo on him as well and get another Guardian Golem. Why not?
Create a richer future.
Not too shabby, honestly. Really does do the job. And Ingrea actually going to struggle to remove these golems since they are 3/3s with barrier, meaning they have to be double hit. Leaves us with a very nice, respectable 10 damage before Evos. And thanks to this setup, Looking Smart becomes active and we can take that out as well and set our board up even better than we did last time. Free up our hand space. We'll even go for the extra little Evo on the Guardian Golem, get ourselves an extra 2 damage, leaving him on just 8 going into the next turn. And that's not great. Not something I really want to have to deal with, but hey, it's fine. We'll make it work. Honestly, they could have took out the 7/7 there, but they would have had to use the ward. Although declimbing here makes sense. This game is now probably going to end up having to slow down a little bit, since they did do a complete clear. Fortunately, our Ingrea is nearly enough on our own. It's definitely enough when we combo it with something else from our hand. But the less removal I have to use on these, the better. So, Stormy Blast, we'll take out the Blaze Destroyer, we get to clear that, and then we just kind of develop it ourselves. We've still got our Ruler of Kokaitis Dimensional Climb and William, which should buy us enough time to get to it. William comes down, turn 9, clears. And then we just kind of wait for our Ruler turn for Dimensional Climb. We hope for a nice Dimensional Climb turn. We have them very close to a potential Storm lethal as well,
Caught us off guard.
which could also work out pretty well in our favor. So, Radiant Rainbow, I kind of just send it. We're not going Flames of Chaos instead for exactly 6. Because why waste a good William if we don't need to here? And our next turn, we're just kind of facing down a ruler. Like, there's not a lot else going on. The heal's kind of annoying, but since they end up playing a follower, it does open up the potential to lethal them. And the rest of this can just go back into our deck. It's really not a concern. So we go for our decline. We end up hitting Azeroth dead on. And that gives us a perfect OTK lethal. Although, technically they're at 15 health, but it wouldn't have mattered what health they're at. It was going to be enough. So overall, I think this deck still has a lot of potential going forward. I don't know if I'd mess with too many other cards in it. Like I said, Norman is kind of optional. I just kind of like Norman. I think he's solid as a one-of. Flames of Chaos, you could, you know, leave or take 2 to 3 pretty easily, especially with William. You can kind of mix and match numbers on those, honestly. And they serve a similar purpose. But otherwise, Spellboost Rune. It's always good. It always feels good. So it's, if you've invested in it this far, investing a little bit more to make it, you know, up to date and more playable, highly worth it in my opinion. Currently, it's one of the few decks that plays well into Wardhaven, and that's definitely something you want to look for at the moment. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. You'll find the deck list in the description below. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Until next time, guys, I'll see you then.